Hi, my name's Jamie with MyTarot.org, and one of the most popular questions you hear out there is about reading the court cards. So what I want to do is see if I can give an idea of how to understand them in the way that you can tell a story, because that's exactly what the court cards are. The court cards are characters, so we can think about this for a second, that as characters they could be us when it comes up in a reading, it could be somebody else, and it could be a situation. But if we take a look at the court cards, one of the ways that we can do this is to figure out their personalities. So I'm going to use the good old classic elements. So they say that each element has its own personality, right? So for example, and I'm going to use the Marseille because the Marseille doesn't have all the symbols and everything else in it. The Marseille is the original deck that people, that for example, that the Rider-Waite-Smith was based on. So let's start out with, well, what is the personality just of the suits? So we have what? We have the Ace of Wands. So with the Ace of Wands, we know that wood is made to make fire, right? So fire, heat, passion. Wood can also be used as a weapon. It can be used to make things. But essentially, think of the wand as fire. Okay? Then we have swords. So what are swords? Swords are carried by who? It's carried by royalty. It's carried by military, people who do the military planning, people who run the kingdoms. So this is the card of thought. This is for the ruling class. This is, so that's the main thing that people say. So swords are thought. Okay? And swords are also considered air. Thoughts, air, okay? Then we have cups. Now, the original cup even almost looks like a church on top of there. See that? This chalice. And when we think of a chalice, when we think of an elaborate cup like this, we think of religion, spirituality. We think of feelings, all the things that goes with that spiritual feeling. And a cup holds water. And so think of water and how you would imagine an ocean and how, you know, how relaxing that can be and how soothing. Okay? Then we have coins. Now, coins are the element of earth, because it's the merchants that would own the land. They would take 2 coins and they would be able to make those 2 coins grow. So coins are of the merchant class. It's very conservative then. This concerns money. Coins can also be concerned with health. It can also be concerned with homes. All the things that money has, can buy, can do. And it's the element of earth. So we know that now that we have fire and energy and passion, we know that we have thought, planning, which is the air. We know that we have the cups, we have spirituality, we have water, we have emotion, and here we have the earth, we have the merchants, we have people who can manage finances. Again, it's also traditionally health and home. So now we have these different court cards. So let's think about it for a second. We have pages. And what are pages? See how young these guys all look? Now, back in the 1500s, when these cards were being designed, a page was what? A page was somebody whose parent was usually of royalty, or in the royal line, royal blood, and they would be sent off to another kingdom to learn how to become a man. So they would be sent off to be, as the pages to a knight. They would observe court. They were interested in the things that were going around them. Think of it like this. This is just a kid who's eager to learn. They want to do right, but sometimes they may not have enough knowledge to do that, as in, we have the Page of Swords. You just handed this person a sword. Hopefully he's not going to cut himself or anything like that. But again, pages are interested in learning. So this is somebody who's interested in understanding things. He might not be a very emotional person, because the Page of Swords is about air and thought. So his father is obviously all about thought and air and political. And so that's how he is. He could be stern. He may get a thought in his head and it's hard to change his mind, but he's a young person and his father is the king, and so that's his personality. But you take cups, water and emotion. So here's a young person, emotional, somebody who's learning about spirituality, somebody who is staring at that cup like it's magic, because let's face it, emotions, we can see magic, we can see fantasy, we see romance. This is a small, this is a boy, and when I'm talking about age-wise, I'm talking about maybe it's an inner child, it's ourselves, it's how sometimes we can see the world, and we can be deceived because we want to see things. We want to see that there's a fish in the cup, and that's not really just a robe that's sitting there. Pamela Coleman Smith and the Rider-Waite Smith put a fish in there instead of just so that's what a romantic does. They're a poet. But again, they're spiritual, but also, since this is an idea of somebody who is younger, this could also mean that, they're not seeing things clearly. Maybe it's clouded by emotions, right? Or he's being distracted. Here we have the Page of Wands. Traditionally now, so think of it like this. His father may not be king. His father might be the mayor of a town, because swords were the noble class, coins are the merchant class. He's got a wand. So he's not from high up there, but he's creative. He's got passion, he's got energy, he's got all that energy that goes with youth, right? Okay? So you can consider that this wand is a gift from his father, and it's fire and passion. Or he just found it in the woods and he's going to make something from it, because it's creativity that burns through this, right? So that's his personality. Then we have this page here, this young boy staring at that coin, and he's intent on that coin. He's been given the task, son, here is a coin. I want you to make this grow. I want you to see what we can do with this. And this, this guy's here is saying, hey, let's go out. You got a coin? That is awesome. We can go out and let's go, let's just go maybe grab some ice cream or something. I'm full of energy. I'm full of fire. And he's like, no, I think that, I'm going to hold on to this and save it for college. Or maybe I will save this until I can start my own lemonade stand. And he's like, okay, dude, well, I'm going to go off. Let me see. I'm going to run and find the Page of Cups. Dude, what's going on? I've got all this fire and energy. He's like, hey, I'm pretending this fish has got a cup in it. He's like, great. So let's get creative. And I tell you what, I'm going to make a fishing pole let's pretend this wand is a fishing pole. And I'm just going to do something energetic about it. And he's going to be, that's really a good idea. You're a very good friend, because I was pretending this was a fish in here, and you want to get a fishing pole, and you're making up a fishing pole out of that. That's a lot of energy. See this youthful energy that's going on here? Of course, we also always have that one person, and he's looking at those two, and he's like, there is no fish. You're not going to turn that into a fishing pole because you don't have string. He's like, I am going to go over here, and I'm going to finish this chess match, and then I am going to observe what these people down here are doing to make sure that they're not doing anything my father would not want them to do. Very stern, isn't he? So we have this youthful personality, but then we have cups here, and he's staring at there, and he just kind of feels a little bit dejected after what the sword said. And along comes his brother, the knight. And now this is a guy here. This could be a sports car he's actually riding. And he's got a cup there, and it's full of emotions, and he's a romantic. You know what? He's like mid-20s or something like that is his personality. And knights are considered fiery, okay, full of passion themselves. So each of these cards has their own element. So since the pages are the base one, they're considered earth. But here we have the fire and the passion. And he saw what the guy said to his brother, and he's like, oh, don't worry there, brother. It's like, you're going to be great, and you're going to write great books, and you're going to go ahead and invent stuff, and you're going to fall in love, and I'm like Romeo. Who's that hot girl? Hey, over here now, over here. Because he's full of emotions, he's full of fire, he's full of pep, might get himself in trouble, but he's a poet and a romantic. And that's the knights because of the energy and fire they have. And so, look at this guy. So what's he thinking? He's like, well, I have fire and energy, and it's like, I have this thought in my head, and you can't change my mind because you ever met that kid or that adult or that person who gets an idea in their head, you can't change their mind? Maybe when he's older, he'll be able to understand, but right now he has this thought in his head. So the personality here, this knight is fire and energy, and he gets an idea in his head, you're not going to change it. He's going to go with that idea. If it's a good idea, this is a person you want on your side because he's ready to run headlong into it. If it's a bad idea, well, you're not going to change his mind, and he's going to run straight into the tower, right? And so if we have fire here, so we know that the court cards here can be fire and energy. So what's he going to do? What's this guy? What's this personality holding a piece of fire here? He is energy times 10. He's ready to just run around. Okay? So if you need to get something done quickly, if you have a project or a plan, fire on fire. This guy is ready to go. But again, he's young, so if he gets the idea, this creative idea, he's going to go with it until the end, and then he's going to, oh, well, maybe that wasn't a good idea. And then he's going to do, 10 steps forward, 5 steps back. 10 steps forward, 5 steps back. Because he may not be thinking a whole lot about it, but he's got all the energy. So he's going to have fun regardless of what he does. Then we have, here we go. We have his brother. So here he is like, I'm going to hold on to this coin and see what I can do with it. And here's his older brother saying, well, I've got 10 coins now, and I'm going to study this one in front of me. I'm going to take notes. I'm going to be a big businessman one day. I'm going to be cautious. I'm going to be conservative. And I'm going to be concerned with what we do with this money. And I'm going to make sure that everything is right. He's kind of boring. He wants to be an accountant. He thinks an accountant would be excellent as a career growing up. And they are. Because if you've got the personality to be an accountant, and you like numbers, that is perfect. And you are going to drive this guy nuts. This is the type of person you want as a friend because he's at least going to say, hey, push you along so you try and have some fun. Come on, let's have some fun, man. But he's going to sit there and instead of going out on a Friday night, he's going to sit there and read his school book. He's going to read economic books. He's going to make notes. You don't want this guy if you want something done quickly, but if you want something done right, he might be the good person to put in charge of something. See these personalities we're developing, right? So we talk about the pages. So if we take the page and just say all the pages are earth, here is earth of air. We have the pages being, grounded, young, and then combine that with the element of the air, which is thought, and then you have this personality. Page who's going to be thinking, thoughtful, all that wonderful stuff. Knights are fire, right? So they do that. Now queens. Queens, it's kind of easy to think queens are water, right? Queens are emotional. And keep in mind that for the most part, these cards are gender neutral. So a page, a knight can be male or female. But if we see a queen and her element is water and she's holding a cup, you know that this is emotion, this is spirituality, this is somebody who is going to be maybe a counselor, somebody who's going to look after their kingdom. They're going to temper their husband. I mean, you can imagine that this, with the King of Swords, that's all about control and politics and command. He's like the justice card. He's going to see things clearly. He's got age and experience, but he may not have the emotion that he needs to understand and have empathy for the people in his kingdom. The queen is empathy. She is all empathy and understanding, love, spirituality. She is water of water. So what happens when you take water and air and mix it together? Well, you have somebody who is clear-sighted. You have somebody who is using the information they have to judge something, but they're using their heart also. But keep in mind, with somebody like the Swords, they are in control. The queen will use empathy. The queen will think about other people, but don't cross her, because she is a queen of swords first and foremost. And so if she gets angry, if that water starts to boil, she is the queen of swords. Don't cross her. If you need somebody who's going to give you the tough love, tell you what you need to know, she's the one you want to talk to. Here we have the queen, which is water, and that baton, which is fire. Okay, so fire and water, that is just energy and emotion and passion. This card is absolutely about passion, burning passion. She is, if you have something creative you want to do, if you want somebody who is, a lot of people say this is the sex partner to have. This is that fiery woman, and that's just traditional. I don't want to be sexist or anything like that, but I'm just saying, but this is passion and energy and fire. And as with a queen, you don't want to cross this one because, you might get burned since she is the queen of wands. So take that passion with a grain of salt and don't get her mad. But again, she is empathy. She is a queen, and queens are intelligent. So here we have our Queen of Coins. So she is thoughtful. She is the homemaker. She is, I had come to decide that if you've ever seen Harry Potter, this is Mrs. Weasley. This is the woman who takes care of the house. She rules the house. She makes sure that the groceries are done, the planting's done. She'll go out and she'll weed the gardens. She feeds people. She takes care of everybody. She's very slow and meticulous, don't cross her again because she is a queen. She's a queen first and foremost. So she's the queen of the earth element. She will make sure that you are welcomed in her home. She will make sure that the fire is burning. But if you cross a queen, you are going to pay. So what does that leave us with? Then we have the kings. And kings rule the roost. Kings are the element of air. They're the ones that are the ones who handle all the politics. They're the runner. They run businesses, or they're the ones that need to be clear-sighted. So when you see a King of Swords, this guy's going to be clear-sighted. He is going to observe whatever needs to be, and take in all the facts. He's not going to be swayed by emotions. He's not going to be swayed by your feelings. So this is a scientist who's just going to look at the empirical evidence and make sure that everything is correct. This is the person that you want. If you get this card, this is saying that whatever the situation is, you need to make sure that you're looking at it clearly without emotion. So, but if you need empathy and things like that, if this card pops up and the situation needs empathy and emotion, then you just need to realize that you're not going to get it. You can want all the empathy and emotion you want, but this person is not going to give it to you. The King of Cups. So he is, kings are air, so we have cups are water. So we have, and it's the element of the card itself, of the person that rules the card. And so air rules this card. But this is the type of person who is going to make sure that not only do they know what the law is, but they know when the law needs to be bent. The King of Swords. You know what? You break the law, the end, right? Because the law is written down and that's how it is. But the King of Cups is saying there's what's right, and then there's what the law says. There's what the law says, and yet there's also what is the right thing to do. And the King of Cups is going to weigh both of those because he has the emotion, he has the feelings in that cup that he's going to hold in front of himself and judge each situation. So what about the King of Wands? So think about it. So we have the king who's air and thought. And what did we say the wands were? Wands are fire and energy and passion. So the King of Wands is what? He is going to have all the energy. If you have a project, he is somebody who's going to get whatever it is built. He's the one who's going to be creative when he thinks about what it needs, what needs to happen. He is the one that's going to have the passion involved in whatever the situation is. So if you're sitting there doing a reading and should you do something and the King of Wands pops up, it's saying, throw everything you've got into it. This is a passion project. The King of Wands is intelligent, but he also is going to make sure he's a project planner because he's going to push things along. Those wands are energy, and he's going to use his intelligence to move that project along, which leaves the King of Coins. And look at the King of Coins. He has his chair there, and he's all stable. He's on stable ground. He is the merchant. He is the person who has taken that one coin, that one coin. He's talking to his son, and he's saying, son, I remember standing where you were, and now look at me. I have my own kingdom, or I have my own house. I put my $10,000 in the bank, because this is the person that works, saves. He's the one that you want if you want. And again, coins, I'm just going to say they're conservative and boring. Conservative and boring people, right? Oh well. But that can be that's what we need sometimes. These are the adults in the situation. But again, they may also be too meticulous. They may be too conservative. So when this pops up, if you have a choice to make, he's always going to make that conservative choice. He's not going to make a fun choice. You know, if you want a fun choice, you want the King of Wands. He's like, hey, you know, so do I want to do what's right or do I want to do what's fun? I say, do what's fun. You know, you're the king here. You have all that. Do what's fun. And he's going to be like, well, it's true. You're the king, but I think you should save your money and not go on that vacation. Ah, don't listen to him. You know what I mean? Oh my gosh. And he's like, oh man, I would do it in a heartbeat. You know, as a matter of fact, you know, because I understand they have some attractive women there. I'm going to go. Oh, hold on. But I love her. I'm going to write you poetry. They're all just personalities. It comes down again to you have the earth element, which is solid, stable. Okay, there's your coins. You have the wands, they're fire, they're energy. You have the swords, which are air and which are thought. And you have cups, which are spiritual and emotional. Then you have your swords with a king. And he is the heir of air. And so he is going to have clear vision. Then you're going to have, let's see, because I mixed these all up, didn't I? But I want the Queen of Cups. Where are you at, young lady? So that was the King of Swords, so he was heir of air. She is water of water. She is emotion, she is spirituality, she is about feeling. Then you have wands, which are fire. And you have, oh, sorry. Oh, here we go. Then you have the wands, which are fire. And then you have the knights, which are fire. Energy. Brrr, right? And then you have, come here, young lad. Pages, which are considered the element of the earth because they're the base ones. They're the one that got both feet on the ground. And they're learning how to be conservative. They can make mistakes because they're young, but they're excited to learn. Pages are all about learning something new. They're about that youthful energy, but he's about, I'm going to go to my math class and I'm going to learn about economics and I'm going to try and understand and I'm going to plant this and see what happens. So those are the personalities. When they pull up into a reading, then you have to take into consideration, you know, how they're going to react in that situation. So I'm going to take a real quick example here. And I'm going to make it so that we've got our Rider-Waite, because most people are familiar with this. So I'm going to pull 2 Rider-Waite cards. Okay? So I'm going to, first, I'm going to shuffle these so I can't see which is which. I'm going to put him down. And what we have here is we have the King of Coins. Okay? Now, I'm going to take my Rider-Waite. I'm going to put one down here, one down here. So with this question or spread then, we're looking at the King of Coins. And we're wondering what we should do, maybe financially. Should we buy this house? Should we spend this kind of money? Then we flip over our other 2 cards. And look at what we get. That's pretty cool. And here's where we get, let me flip this so that we can see it. Give me 1 second. Cool. So, should we buy this house? Should we spend the money? Well, we've had to go through our fears. We had to go through our own anxieties. So this is us traveling down. It's like we need to spend this money one way or the other. But the moon is about dealing with our fears, with the moon, we at night when it's twilight, if we see, for example, a shadow sitting there ready to pounce on us, during the daylight, we realize that it was just a log sitting there. There was nothing to fear. And the King of Coins is going to help us to clear up our fears. The King of Coins is just that. He is going to make sure that we see things. So he's already moved past that. So the King of Coins is asking us to look past that. And he's asking us to look at the faith, the hope, put all our fears behind us. Believe that whatever it was we wanted to accomplish, the King of Coins, King is of air, of thought, he's the ruler. He's already put his thought into it, and he's ready to open up his purse, which he's got here, because he can see that it's a bright future and that we should have faith in what we're going to do. So see how we turn that into a personality trait. The King of Coins, he has that personality. He's going to do what a king does, and he's going to make a decision, and he's going to turn his back on the fears that we all have, because you know what? The king will see right past it. And he's going to see, using his clear thought, just the way that the future is going to present itself. So that is my quick 30 minutes on the court cards. Hopefully it made sense. I totally did this on the fly as a response for somebody while I'm on vacation, but I thought I'd give it a shot. So I hope this helps. I hope you have an amazing day. I hope you have an amazing rest of your week. Thank you so much for listening. And with that, I'm going to say, I'll see you on Monday. I'm still doing my morning meditation, my morning reflection, 7:15 every morning. So thanks.